Coding Made Easy.
So what's up everybody, this is Peter aka Coding Made Easy coming to you guys with another update. So first of all, before I even get into the meat of this update, I'm just letting you know that I am currently moving from where I'm living now, so I'm not able to really make as much videos here. So after Christmas break, I'm going to be going down to see my family back in Toronto, but after Christmas break I'm going to be moving to a new place. It's only 2 minutes away from my workplace, which gives me more time for videos, and I have the ability to make more videos, because where I am now I can't really make too much noise, but in my new place I'll be able to freely make more tutorials. So you guys can look for that in the new year. But anyways, for the meat of this update, I guess you guys should get your popcorn or yada yada. I suspect it's gonna be long. It may be short, but basically I'm gonna be discussing elaborating on what I said in my last video. In my last video, I was stating that I didn't want to open up an indie company anymore. And a lot of people understood. A few people commented in the video, some people inboxed me, yada yada. They were saying that that they didn't agree with my opinion, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with me, and it's cool to have your opinion, and I didn't want to discourage you at all. I just wanted to give you my standpoint on it, but a lot of people were confused on it, and I kind of just want to elaborate a bit more. Now, a lot of people were saying, well, not a lot, well, a few people were saying that I got my concept of indie wrong. I understand the concept of indie. You're not meant to make a AAA game, right? But most people who do indie eventually want to get to that status of AAA, or get to that status of actually getting somewhere. But let's just say you don't even want to get to the status of AAA. It depends what level of indie you're aiming for. Say for example you're trying to make small games for the mobile platform, then so be it, right? I made a couple mobile games, right, in my spare time when I was in college. Nope, I wasn't really doing much in college. I wasn't really doing my work, but I was still able to make 2 games in my spare time, and it was fine. Didn't make too much of a profit, but that was because of my lack of marketing skills and my lack of money to sort of invest in somebody who could market a lot better than I could. But I'll get into that a bit later in this video. But the point is that if you're trying to do something small like that where you could do by yourself, then that's fine. What I was trying to address was sort of the broader spectrum of indie games. If you want to say make something like Chrono Triggers, a really cool 2D RPG, or a big 2D platformer, or something like that that requires a lot more work than a single man team. That's what I was trying to get at, right? And I wasn't just addressing making indie games alone. I was addressing more making an indie company, right? Of a company. And yeah, you could make a mobile game company with a lot of small games, and more power to you. But let's say you want to make it in the PC game market, or say console game market. You can't just make those little games. You have to have a broader spectrum. And the bigger the game is, the more responsibility you have as the CEO of an indie company, or working within an indie company. Now, for those of you who are, I'm a realist, right? And I often use the term that a lot of people are in fairyland with unicorns and yada yada, and that's it. And I'm not trying to be mean, because I was in fairyland like last year. Last year I was in fairyland, and I'm thinking I could do no wrong, and yada yada. My game's gonna be the biggest success. I thought my game Driving Frenzy was gonna be like one of the biggest mobile hits, because it's just such a unique game, and I got probably 2,000 plus downloads. Not bad for my first game, but still not a hit. And so I was in fairyland, and I kind of want to prevent you guys from being in fairyland. So I'm going to be explaining to you the reasons why I came to my decision. I'm going to be explaining to you why I don't think it's the best idea, for me at least, but it shouldn't discourage you. at the least it should help you out to realize what you need to do in order to make a successful game. So consider this more education wise. But the first thing, as I mentioned, is money, right? As I mentioned, I think I mentioned in my previous video, but money. Now, everybody likes to avoid the topic of money, but money, whether you want to believe it or not, money runs this world. That piece of paper or those coins or whatever run this world. You need money to live. You need money to survive. I don't care who you are, unless you're God or something, you need money or whatever to survive. You need food, shelter, yada yada yada. Now, if you're, for example, if you're a college student and you're trying to work with fellow college people, college folks or regular other university folks, then you guys don't really have much to spend money on, right? Like you maybe buy food for lunch, maybe your tuition, yada yada. But it's not like you have to pay for house, kids, yada yada. So if you want to get together with a team of people in university, that's fine. But I will address that topic in my next point about university and yada yada. But that's fine. But if you're trying to find people who are skilled or professionals or something in their area to make a full-fledged game that is going to be successful and lift off the ground, you're gonna have to pay them. It is extremely rare, extremely, and I will stress that, extremely rare, that you will find somebody who is talented and willing to work for free. That is a talented professional that's willing to work for free, when any other companies, say like Ubisoft, Rockstar, or whatnot, will take them up and pay them a salary of say $80,000 to $100,000 a year to make games that are better, or I wouldn't say better, but which are bigger, more advanced in the indie game that you're working on. Right? It's not that convincing. If one of you guys came to me and said, would you rather work for my indie company or work at Ubisoft, I would say Ubisoft any day. I'm working on bigger games, I'm working with bigger software, I'm learning a lot more, yada yada. And so in order for me to leave this company to go work for you, you have to have a pretty convincing argument, or you pay me close to or an equal salary to what I'm making now for me to give up my full-fledged job to work for you. And so money is a pretty big topic. Now say for example that you got a group together, got a talented group of people together. Money also it's not just to actually pay employees, it's to pay for marketing and yada yada yada. If you think that you are just gonna make a good game and people are just gonna catch on to it, you're living in fairyland. And I will tell you that you're living with fairyland and like there's unicorns and everything running around. You are, because it is, if your game picks up and just like that without any form or of promotion, then you are one of those like diamonds in a haystack, a needle in a haystack. You're the extremely rare case. But that doesn't happen for everybody, and everybody thinks it will happen for them. It will not. It is extremely rare. And so you need to be able to market properly. Now they have whole university courses on marketing. So if you don't have the knowledge of marketing, that extreme knowledge of marketing, you will have to hire somebody to market your game, to promote it, to get it out there. And don't think you can just do a 1 month marketing campaign. No, you're going to have to market that for a really long time. It takes time for a new IP to sort of get off the ground. Last but not least, aside from marketing, you also have personal things that you have to pay for. So as I said before, like you have tuition. It might not be a lot, or it could be a lot, but you have that. Some people have kids, right? You have food that you gotta buy. Some people might have houses, yada yada, and that ties into actually getting some sort of salary to cover for those expenses. Right? You have certain expenses or liabilities that you have to cover, so money is an important part if you're going to devote your time into it. That's my next topic, time. Now, people try to take advantage or try to belittle time, when time is probably the most important thing to human life. Time is very precious, is very limited, and is very valuable. People want to spend their time wisely. They don't want to spend their time on something that could or could not turn a profit. If you're doing it as a learning experience, then it's time well spent. But for somebody, if for example one of you came to me and said, "Hey, let's work on this indie game, yada yada," and there's no planning or anything, like I don't see any vision or anything in it, and I don't see that it could be successful, it is a waste of my time. Will I learn something? Maybe a thing here or there, but will I learn enough? Will I learn a lot? Will I gain a lot of it? A lot from it? Probably not. And I'm not trying to be mean, but there is some people. There are quite a few people who have messaged me, who have asked me, "Hey, Coding Made Easy, I'm working on this game. Do you want to help me out?" Yada yada, and I've rejected pretty much all of them. Not the main reason for rejecting it was time, right? I simply don't have time. I have a lot of things going on in life. But the secondary reasoning for me rejecting it was poor planning. Poor planning, and it's not a great use of my time because I can see that it's going to end up in failure, right? Because it's going to end up in failure, it is a waste of my time. And that ties into my next point, which is planning and execution. People take this so for granted, and trust me, I was one of these people that took planning way too, like I did not care for it. And planning is probably the most important step because there's so many things you have to take into account for that you would not otherwise expect. And when you actually hit that bump, then what do? Now, I'm not going to name this person, but somebody, I hope you don't hate me for sort of putting you on the spot, but nobody knows who you are. But somebody messaged me on Facebook and they were asking me to join their indie project, and they were saying that they got this game, yada yada, blah blah. They showed me the Facebook link, yada yada yada, and I was like, okay, that's fine, yada yada yada. And so they were saying that they wanted to build they want to build this game and so on and so forth, but they said that they had to he was asking me like what API I think is best, is libgdx with Java, should I use XNA? And I said, wait, I thought you had a code base. And he said, well, we did, but our lead programmer left and took all the source code. Now in my head I'm like, wow, that is like poor planning. Like, I'm sure nobody planned for that. Nobody planned for that to happen. So that's 6 months. I don't know how long they worked. I think it was around 6 months or whatever. But that's 6 months or more gone down the drain, right? They worked for 6 months, and then this guy just got up and left and took all the source code. They had no way of managing the source code. They had no way of source control, right? So they had no backups locally, yada yada. And then because of poor planning, there was no they were starting from the beginning again. That's poor planning. A lot of people, they will have a group of friends. A few people have come to me and they have a group of friends and they look like they're talented and yada yada. And they'll come to me and they'll be like, oh, do you want to help on this game? And yada yada. And then when they introduce me to the team, they'll be like, oh, this person is the lead and yada yada. You would be working for this person. And when I look at them, I'm like, okay, like you're a competent programmer, but no offense, but you don't have the qualifications to lead a team, let alone lead me. And I'm not trying to be mean with that, but it makes sense. Like, a lot of people, for example, want to start an indie game or an indie company, and they want to lead everything. They want to be lead programmers. They want to be lead that, yada yada. When you're not competent or you're not ready to lead a team, you don't know what it takes to lead a team, yada yada. You don't know what it takes to lead a project from start to finish, yada yada. And it might be hard to swallow, but it's realistic, right? There came a point where I thought I could lead myself to create this indie game from start to finish, and I realized I couldn't, right? And sometimes you just don't have the skill. Sometimes you need to be led instead of leading yourself. But a lot of people take it personally and don't want to do that. There's so much that goes into planning and execution, but planning, a lot of people just want to get right into it, and I have a bad habit of doing that. I'll say I want to do a project, and all of a sudden, I'll say, okay, let's just jump into it. Let's just do the code. I don't plan what my code is going to do, how it's going to execute, yada, yada, yada. And I'm slowly learning this I'm slowly like I started learning this lesson like this past month or so. I'm working on something at work, and I'm working with one of the technical leads on something, and if you tell me anything to do, I can get it done. Tell me anything and I can execute it. Fine, but I wasn't thinking about the future of the code, what we're going to be doing with the code in the future. I was just thinking about now. I was thinking too small. And when my technical lead was talking to me, he was just amazing me the stuff he was saying about what we could do with the code in the future, how flexible it can be, yada yada, and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, if I just sat down for like 2 minutes or sat down for like a week or so and just planned this out, I could have came up with the same thing. But because I just jumped right into it, I missed the broader spectrum of what the final product was going to be. I just wanted to build it now. I wasn't looking on building upon it and building bigger frameworks and putting different things together to make an even bigger framework in the future and yada yada yada. I was thinking 1 month from now. He was thinking 1, 2, 3 years from now. And that comes for the games as well. Some of us plan to make this game, but we don't even have a planned deadline. We're just like, oh, whatever. Sometimes when I ask people, how much do you expect us to contribute every week? Oh, whatever time, whatever free time you have, just contribute whatever. That's poor planning. And so a lot of the times we just say we have an amazing idea and we feel like we have the skill as programmers to execute it, but then we don't realize that there's so many other things that tie into it. We need money to hire artists, so we need to find motivated people who are as motivated as us, who's going to put in as much time as us, right? Because I assure you, if you don't have people that are as motivated as you, it will not get done. It's happened to me countless times and it doesn't get done because you do so much work and the other people do not keep up the same level of consistency as you, and eventually the project falls through. And so you need to find people who are like-minded, who have the same vision, who are focused on the same tasks, who are not going to be mad if they're not leads, who are going to be able to do the amount of work they say they're going to do and stay committed to the very end of the project, whether it takes 2, 3, 5, 10 years to finish. And it's very hard to actually do. So I know this video was kind of long. I just really wanted to elaborate on it because I didn't want people thinking that I was being pessimistic or negative in a way. I just kind of don't want you guys to fall into the same trap that I did, right? Like my channel is to teach code, and I teach code and I try to make code as easy as possible, but a lot of you guys want to start indie companies. A lot of you guys want to do it, and more power to you. I hope you become successful. I hope you like bypass me in life. You know, I hope, I wish the best for you guys, but you guys need to know that it is not just all about fun and games. At the end of the day, an indie company is a business, and if you don't know how to handle a business properly, you will fail no matter how good your game is, right? You need to have proper planning. You need to have a good team. You need to have people that are committed. You need to have money to get the right assets, yada, yada, yada. You may be that one, as I said, needle in a haystack, that bypasses all the laws, all the statistics, yada yada yada, but statistics are there for a reason. They are our friends. They help us out, right? And so whether you want to beat the odds or try to beat the odds, you can try, but it's pretty hard. And one last thing I'm going to leave you with, this guy told my brother this. This guy met Donald Trump. This guy my brother knows met Donald Trump. And he went up to Donald Trump and he said, "Hey, Donald Trump, how can I be rich like you?" And Donald Trump said to read a lot of books. The guy started laughing and he's like, "Oh, ha, I don't really like to read," and blah blah blah. And he's like, "Okay." And Donald Trump said, "Okay, well maybe you'll be the first guy to do it." And then he just walked away. And when you think about it, yes, you can try to do it your own way. And you can try to be the first man to do it your own way, right? Like, you can, and you may succeed, and more power to you. But there are formulas, there are calculated things that help you be successful. There are things that can help with the progression of your game, and yada yada yada. Those things you should follow. So, yeah, I hope this sort of helped you out. I hope it sort of educated you a bit. I hope you don't hate me for calling some of you guys out or yada yada. It wasn't meant to be negative. It was meant to educate you and hopefully help you guys out in the future. If you continue, then so be it, but at least you will continue with an open mind instead of a fairyland mindset. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And if you have any comments, which I'm sure you will, I'll put them in the description, in the comment section below, and I'll answer you as quickly as possible. So thanks, and bye for now.